Chimigwich, thank you very much to everyone for joining us this evening. And to begin our AGM, I recognize that Acadia University is located at Essawadik, which means where the water stops, in the Mi'kmaq district of Sebenegadi, which is the place of the wild potato, in Mi'kmaqi. As an Algonquin woman, I recognize Olnu peoples as my relatives. It is an honor to know this place and to be a guest in Mi'kmaq homelands. May we always conduct ourselves in a good way when we are on Mi'kmaqi, and really everywhere that we call home, because no matter where we are in the world, we are on Indigenous lands. On behalf of the Associated Alumni of Acadia University, Chimigwich to Mi'kmaq peoples who continue to steward these lands and waters into the future as their ancestors have done since time immemorial. I do want to also at this point have a moment of silence just to mark the recent passing of Steve Pound, who is a legendary alumnus and the former executive director of Alumni Affairs. So I ask everyone, please take a moment just to recognize his incredible contributions to our community. Thank you, everyone, and also joining us today for our annual general meeting from Acadia University are Dr. Jeff Hennessy, President and Vice Chancellor, so he belongs to the class of 1999. Vice President of External Affairs, Nancy Handrigan, class of 1992. Executive Director of Alumni Affairs, Una Proudfoot, class of 1993 and 2006. Melanie Jackson, Senior Alumni Officer, class of 1999 and 2001. Former Alumni Association President Donalda Macbeth, class of 1975, as well as other past members of the Alumni Board of Directors. And lastly, but most importantly, we have alumni from across Canada and across the entire world on this call tonight, representing graduates of Acadia from 1950 to 2025. So welcome to each and every one of you. Thank you all for joining us this evening. I would also like to just remind everyone that we will be referring to the 2024-25 annual report during the course of this meeting. This report was circulated to you in advance of tonight's AGM and has been posted on the website as well as in the meeting chat. So next up, we'll move to our next slide. So just a few notes along the lines of technology. So please note that this meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to our alumni website following tonight's meeting. A few things to keep in mind. Please turn on your camera when speaking, and I will note if you're seeming to have any technology issues with video or sound quality, feel free to turn your camera off, as we find that will often improve. It will improve the video or sound quality and so on. I will remind everyone that when voting in motions, silence is affirmative. And so if your vote is not in favor or you wish to abstain, please raise your virtual hand, or if you're on screen, you're able to also raise your hand as well. Note that you will be muted throughout the meeting, but if you do have a question, please raise your hand and you will be unmuted at an appropriate time. So we do have a number of opportunities for participation. So this meeting will follow Robert's Rules of Order, and then done just to structure good discussion and debate, and to be able to give all members time to speak should they choose to. Each motion tonight will have a mover who will have an opportunity to speak to the motion itself. The motion will then receive a seconder in order for the discussion to take place. There will be an opportunity for a 10-minute discussion period following each motion as needed. This is a point when you're able to ask questions or provide any feedback. Again, please raise your hand if you wish to speak, and note that there will be a 2-minute maximum for each speaker. In order to ensure that each member present tonight has the ability to participate in the discussion, we ask that anyone who wishes to speak, if you want to speak a second time, please hold off until everyone else has had a chance to do so. Of course, I ask you, please keep all discussion and debate respectful and collegial. We are here to make Acadia the best place possible to receive an education. We all know how special Acadia University is. I would also like to point out that we have provided time for questions that are not part of our formal agenda under new business. So I ask that you hold any general questions that you might have until that point in the agenda. So that will be toward the end of the evening. Next slide. So at this point in time, this is our agenda for the evening. And the first order of business is the approval of the agenda for the annual general meeting. And this can also be found on page 2 of our annual report. So I ask please for someone to move for the approval of the agenda.
Good evening, this is Kelton. I move that the agenda be approved as circulated.
Thank you very much, Kelton. Can I have a seconder, please? All right, so Barb Anderson, thank you very much for seconding. I will remind everyone that motions on this meeting are decided by a simple majority of votes. So each member has the ability to vote, and silence is considered that vote in favor of the motion. For each motion, there will be a call for votes in favor, against, and for those who wish to abstain. So my first question will be, are all those in favor of the motion, keeping in mind that silence is considered to be a vote in favor? So all in favor? Okay, are there any members present who are opposed to this motion? Okay, hearing none, are there any abstentions? Okay, thank you. So there being no votes in opposition, no abstentions, I declare that this motion is carried. So our second order of business on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our May 8th, 2004 annual general meeting. May I please have a motion to approve the minutes from the 2024 AGM? Okay, I see Natalie Irwin. Thank you, Natalie. And can I have a seconder, please? Okay, and I've got Emily McLeod. Thank you very much for seconding. So all those in favor of the motion, and again, silence is considered in favor. Okay, any opposed? Hearing none, any abstentions? Okay, thank you. There being no votes in opposition and no abstentions, I declare that this motion is carried. Thank you, everyone. So next up, I'm joined, I do want to say tonight, joining this meeting, we have an incredible slate of officers and directors of the Acadia Alumni Association. While I will not call on them directly, in the slide you see a screen that includes each member of the board of directors, and I just really want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for your incredible contributions over the past year. I appreciate your dedication, your commitment, and really for showing up for all of us on the board. We've done so many wonderful things over the past year, and just a heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you. So next up, this is a slide, you know, there are so many folks who support all of the work that we do. And really there, as you can see, there are too many to name individually. We are supported by alumni relations and external relations staff, and we really could not do our work without you. You are all so deeply appreciated. And so a big thank you to all of the staff listed here for the work that you do. We appreciate your heartfelt dedication so much. Thank you. All right, so it is my sincere pleasure to invite President and Vice Chancellor Dr. Jeff Hennessy. Jeff, you're more than welcome to take the floor. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you so much to all of you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I promise I won't take too long, but I do enjoy the opportunity to speak with this group, and I really do also benefit from the support of the Alumni Association Board, who have been great advisors and friends to me. It is a busy time around campus. We're getting ready for convocation ceremonies next week, so the campus is looking really nice. It's getting green, and the flowers are coming out, and you can feel the energy starting to pick up for next week. So we're really looking forward to that. It has been quite a year since I last met with you. I would say a very different second year of my presidency than the first year. A lot of great things. On the plus side, the Board of Governors approved a strategic direction for Acadia back in January, which really was a refining of the vision of Acadia for the next 5 years to double down on the concept of Acadia as both a liberal arts or liberal education university and an applied professional university. We kind of have both of those things going for us, which is quite distinctive. So we're actually using the term applied liberal, which is not all that creative, but we might need a different name for marketing purposes. But the point is to take advantage of the history of the university, which is founded on both of those principles, and how the university has evolved, sometimes with these two ideas really working together and sometimes kind of in parallel, but really being intentional to try to fuse liberal education concepts into the professional degrees and into science, and to infuse applied, experiential, land-based, practical, work-integrated learning opportunities into more traditional arts, sciences, humanities, and social sciences. And within that vision, focusing on four really key priorities or pillars for the next 5 years: strategic academic programming, and we're about to start an academic plan. I'll talk about more of that in a minute. Campus culture, EDIAR, and financial health and sustainability. Those are the four kind of key areas that we're going to be working on. We have had multiple town hall type sessions on the strategic direction, have gotten very good discussion and feedback. Two of those key pillars are about to be turbocharged and due to external circumstances, and I'll talk about those in a minute. But all four of them are really important for us to keep front and center as we work for the next 5 years. Also on the plus side is I can report the board approved the beginning of the construction of the student center. So we'll break ground on that in the fall. I'm sure we'll hear more later about the fundraising target, but we did reach a safe point with it where we can safely approve the beginning of the construction. So that's very excited. Thank you to all the alumni who contributed, including the Alumni Association with their donation and matching gifts. So that's a really exciting thing. It's going to be a wonderful transformation of that facilitate those two buildings into something that's much more modern and functional for students. So we're looking forward to that. We're also facing a few challenges. Many of them are external. Um, those of you from across the country will, certainly be aware about the federal government's change to international students study permit rules. And they've really hit Canadian universities hard, including Acadia. We did see a significant drop in international student numbers this past year. We're projecting an even greater drop this coming year. And, remember how our kind of business cycle works. If one class comes in small, that's a 4-year hit on the university because that compounds for 4 years. So whenever we get a drop, it's not just a 1-year drop. Our domestic numbers are up a little bit, but not enough to compensate. So, and we don't really anticipate those international student numbers to stabilize anytime soon. We're getting no signals from the federal government that they plan to do anything to change those permit caps or to make it easier for international students to get study permits. And our expenses have also grown a bit or too much to sustain. We've got a provincial grant that's not keeping up with inflation. The province has frozen Nova Scotia tuition, which is really great for students, but the grant didn't increase enough to compensate for the loss in tuition revenue. So between federal and provincial governments, we're facing a big revenue shortfall this coming year. So we've entered a period where we're going to have to address what is essentially a structural deficit and look for some new revenue sources, but also having to cut expenses. We had to make some hard decisions this year. We're going to have to make some other hard, unpopular ones in the next few years, but that's what we're going to have to do to kind of right the ship from the financial perspective. In the background of that, we also have new bilateral agreements with the province, which holds back funds for not achieving certain targets, one of which is a total academic program review to determine if our programs are viable and relevant, which is not necessarily a bad thing for us, except that our funding is tied to the outcome. But we're sort of eagerly kind of, with some trepidation, going down the road of really, really taking a hard look at all of our programs and seeing what we can do to make them more relevant, more exciting, more interesting for students, and still keep the heart of what is important with Acadia. So our new Provost Ashley Consolo is leading an academic planning exercise And at the same time, our Vice President of Finance and Administration, Aaron Bowden, is leading a financial health planning exercise. So that's why those two parts of the strategic direction have been kind of turbocharged for the immediate future. Really important that we don't lose the campus culture and the EDIAR pieces, though, because they'll be easy to get lost if we don't keep focus on them. So we still have aspects of the next budget that include those pieces, and we'll continue to do that. We also have a new piece of government legislation in the background, Bill 12, which is an omnibus bill, has lots of components to it, including a new one where new NSCC, the Nova Scotia Community College, will now be able to grant degrees. So that's an interesting potential threat and challenge for us. The Board of Governors will be restructured. All boards of governors of the 10 universities are going to be restructured. They're going to be smaller, and they're going to have more government appointees. And government can now impose a revitalization plan on universities if it's not confident in their finances. Our approach with all this is we're going to get ahead of government. We're going to fix our finances, transform our programs, be good government partners, and really try to present the best version of Acadia that we can in light of all of these challenges. One fantastic resource that we have is you. We had a wonderful alumni awards dinner last week. I want to thank all of our team for organizing this and all of you who came to the dinner. It was a really wonderful event. And when I spoke at the dinner, I asked alumni for two things, and I'm going to repeat those today to you. This is a real tough time for higher education across the world, really. The values being questioned in media, by governments, by students and their parents. We've had conversations among the Nova Scotia universities, among the presidents, about how we need some kind of public campaign to promote the value of a university degree. And really, the best people to do that are our alumni. We know internally the value of an Acadia education and of our experience, but the external validation of what we do really comes from you, your successes, your careers, your lives, your inspiration. So we're going to be calling on you for your story and for your testimonial and your validation of what we do so well. And the other thing that I'm hoping that we can do is we really need, I think, to amplify this alumni network as something that we can present to the world. It's interesting with everything that's going on in the United States, people keep asking us, is there no market there? Can we not go to the US market and try to attract students? Acadia is just like, and you can pick your small liberal arts college, a Bowdoin or Middlebury, a Bates, a Brown, Colby, those universities. The thing with those schools is that the students are attracted not just to the education and the campus and the student experience, they also want the alumni network. They know if they graduate from one of those schools, it comes with connections. And this is, I think, an untapped strength for us. We do, I think, a really good job at keeping you connected through our alumni affairs staff and through the association. But I do think we have one of the best alumni networks in the world, highly accomplished, impressive people with great lives and careers at all ages, all over the world. So I think we really need to energize and amplify that network. I kind of joked at the dinner that we should think about it like an electrified nervous system, and the cell bodies of the nervous system are connected by axons. That was my little dad joke. I offered that to the marketing director, and she said no thanks. But I thought it was a good way to think about this electrified nervous system of our alumni network. And I do think we can use this network to sell the value of Acadia around the world. So I hope you'll help us with that, and stay tuned for more instructions on that, because I think it's really a valuable resource that we can use. Other than that, we're going to keep on trucking, and we still have wonderful people. We have wonderful students, wonderful faculty, wonderful staff, and fantastic alumni. And I think the best days are ahead for us. There's challenges, but I think we're going to come out of those challenges really energized and transformed into the next version of Acadia, which we want to be the architects of before it gets decided for us. So that's all from me, Madam Chair. Happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hennessy. So at this point in time, I do welcome any questions for Dr. Hennessy. And just a reminder, there is that 2-minute time limit per speaker for a total of 10 minutes. But at this point, we welcome any questions. And I will mention, so you are able to also add them into the chat, but feel free to unmute. And if you're comfortable, turn on your video. Okay, Rebecca.
I was waiting a couple minutes to see if somebody else might jump in. Thanks for that, Jeff. My name's Rebecca Earle. I'm a grad from the class of 2000 and been nominated to the board this
Oh, good.
evening. Yeah, I'm really thrilled to be here. So yeah, almost 25 years after graduation, I'm really excited to kind of jump in and be part of all the great work that is ahead of us. You spoke about the academic planning session that will be occurring with the university. I'm a registered nurse by profession, so
Oh, great.
really excited. I was thrilled to hear about Acadia launching a nursing program and just wondered what opportunities there are for the Alumni Association and alumni members to perhaps be involved in some of that work.
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, so I mean, first of all, with the nursing program, we're on our way. We have two classes now that we've admitted, and we'll admit a third in the fall. We still right now are using the Cape Breton University nursing program. We don't have our own program yet. Until we get accredited, we won't be able to offer our own specific Acadia degree, but we are working really hard to develop a really interesting, really state-of-the-art Acadia degree. We're working actually with the Dodgegamic, the Mi'kmaq Health Authority, to try to really incorporate a lot of Indigenous health and ways of knowing into the program. We've got a new building that we're going to start building at some point soon. We're actually in conversation with government to see if we have the funding for the nursing building. We're trying to see if we can get a bit more money out of them to add some other functionalities to it. Maybe a health and wellness institute, a collaborative care clinic, for example. Our counseling center is expanding and we need a place for that. So so far they seem to be pretty interested. We're just trying to see if we can get that over the line. So absolutely, any would be great. Calling on alumni who are specialists in that field, who are practicing nurses or have expertise that they can offer to certainly help us out in terms of the curriculum development. That would be really interesting to kind of find out what people are experiencing out in the world. I know we have we're hiring brand new people. We have a brand new nursing director. All of our nursing faculty, we had no nursing people until this program started. So we're hiring as we go, and they will be making things up, kind of as they go. Some of them are obviously experienced in the higher education system. Some of them would be new to it, but it's an exciting time. So we're looking for any feedback or advice that we can get.
Yeah, and I'll just note I'm currently working with Nova Scotia Health on provincial primary healthcare transformation, and so I've actually been connected with Jonathan Fowles in the kinesiology department around his work regarding exercise professional scoping as we think about chronic disease in our primary care centers and whatnot, and really excited about the work he's doing. So from that lens, happy to add any voice to any of the health programs as we kind of build a new primary care system and take our universities along to prepare the students for the health workforce that we need for Nova Scotians.
That would be fantastic. So we're trying to put Jonathan's Health and Wellness Institute in the new center, and then within the collaborative care clinic model, where we would have multiple practitioners all working together in a team, and then have our students feed into that, and also have a lot of health research so they can actually provide more data into the world about how these collaborative centers work. So it's a really exciting opportunity. So anything you can do to help us there with Nova Scotia Health, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks so much for answering. Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. And the next hand up that I see is Meredith Holland. So Meredith?
Hi, Meredith Holland here, class of 2022, Bachelor of Community Development. But in the past 2 years, I have acquired a master's degree from Queen's, and I work for the City of Toronto. That said, I have a suggestion to expand that program if academics are something you're working on. I would suggest an urban studies stream in the program to give students a pathway for that degree, because you'll notice a lot of them will go into recreation, they'll end up working for the university. I think Kelton Thomason is on this call, if I'm not mistaken. He works for this town of Wolfville in recreation and graduated from the program and was still recreation management. And I think Victoria Hendricks is on this call too. But those are kind of showing them another career path they can do, because there already are courses related to urban and regional planning. in the program. So that's one thing to do. So if you're looking to expand programs, that's an option.
Yeah.
The profs would be versed in planning, but if you like, I could come into the class, one of the classes on Zoom or something, and explain what I did with the city. Because it could be a path for history students as well, because I'm a heritage planner at the City of Toronto. So I just thought, just a quick pitch.
No, that's
Maybe
great.
put urban planning in the program too.
I'll pass that on to the provost and the dean as something to consider. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Meredith. And it's, something that I'm reminded of almost every single conversation I'm part of with alumni, just the enthusiasm that comes out, right? And really the love for Acadia University. So thank you both to Meredith and to Rebecca as well. At this point in time, I will call, do we have any other questions for Dr. Hennessy at this point? Okay, so there is a question in the chat from Jenna Floyd. I'm not sure, Jeff, are you able to see that one?
Yeah, I can see that one. So that's a interesting question. We have been we have been discussing a PsyD program, psychology doctorate program, since before I came to Acadia, and have been having conversations with faculty in psychology and with government on it. Mount St. Vincent just started one in school counsel or school psychology, and ours would be more trauma based. So we are having those conversations. There are some challenges with it from a funding perspective. One of the things about a program like that is that it's very expensive and would require new people, new infrastructure, and would have a very limited cohort of students, right? So the tuition revenue, wouldn't be a lot. We've got 8 students at any given time with a full cohort of a program. So to get that over the line, we would need substantial ongoing commitment from government to fund the program. And the Mount St. Vincent program that was started, they received 5 years of confirmed funding, which sounds like a good deal, but it really isn't for a university, because 5 years goes by pretty quickly, and then you're stuck with all the expenses and the funding dries up. So we're trying to not do any more deals like that. So we've had a number of in the past that have come and hurt Acadia after the funding dries up. So we're continuing to talk with government about ongoing funding for that program. And if we do get it, it would be kind of a cool thing. It would be a trauma-based doctorate in psychology program.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hennessy. And just one final call for any other questions for Dr. Hennessy. Okay, hearing none. Dr. Hennessy, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's always a pleasure to have you join any of our meetings, and we very much appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Okay, folks, so next on our agenda is the 2024-2025 annual report. And so I am up first. And so just a very brief run through of the report that I had provided in our annual report, and a few key highlights from our past year. One of the most significant things that we do, we're able to support current students when they are on campus, and that's through the Student Center campaign. So the alumni has been involved in a matching campaign and helping to fundraise overall, including a number of both and looking at also being members of some of us being members of the Board of Governors. Both members of Board of Governors and members of our Board of Directors here this evening have contributed even personally to this campaign, just because we really believe in current students having the most incredible Acadia experience. And so that has been one of our current focuses, is the Student Center campaign. As with every year, I am always so impressed by the incredible slate of events that is put on for alumni, everything from homecoming to gatherings across the globe. I was able to attend one of the events in Ottawa, and I was so moved by the inclusion of prospective students able to join alumni in the room. And what they can see is folks considering whether or not they want to join Acadia, they're able to see the spirit that exists and the community that exists. So really they get to see the magic. And I mean, if that's not one way to hook prospective students, I don't know how else we can do it. So a job very well done to the events team. Absolutely. We recognize how hard you work and really how tirelessly you work too. I also do want to give a shout out to the Alumni Book Club. If you've not yet joined any of the conversations, I mean, what a wonderful way to celebrate books that are being written by alumni and members of our community, and being able to be part of the discussion with alumni from, again, across the globe, all celebrating these works of publications by some of our fellow alumni. So keep an eye out for the book club. Highly recommend it. And of course, there are so many others, both in person and online. Overall, our work is to celebrate all alumni, every member of our community, and the diversity of alumni and all of our unique life experiences. We have been working hard to support equity-seeking communities within the broader Acadia community, including working hand in hand with the university, with folks like Lorado Chandoma and Sabrina Whitman. And we've been able to support those initiatives around EDI. At some points in time, it does come in the form of financial contributions, but also being present. That's one of the most important things that we can do when it comes to helping to further EDI initiatives, is to be present. We don't believe in just talking about things, but we believe in doing them. And we, of course, continue to honor outstanding alumni, faculty, staff, and students through our awards program. And I think Una might give a little bit of an update on that one too. And then I will mention, over the last 6 months and looking toward the future as well, we've been working on a strategic plan that's going to lay the foundation of our work for, the next 5 years and maybe even longer. This is a way that we can continue to work in partnership with the university and to celebrate all that Acadia is, and again, communicate to the world the significance and the impact of a liberal arts education. And it allows us to really kind of lay that groundwork for the work that we'll continue to do into the future. At this point too, I do want to just, and I'll say it probably a few more times again this evening, but thank you to all directors, those who are current and those who are retiring. It's such an honor to do this work alongside of you. And to Una, Mel, and all of the alumni and external relations team, we're so lucky to have all of you. And of course, to all alumni who are joining us this evening, Chimigwish, thank you so much for being here and giving up a little bit of your day to spend some time with us. It's such a privilege to be part of this community. Thank you. And Una, you're up next.
Thank you very much, Christine. And both you and Jeff are tough acts to follow. You've covered a lot of ground. So I'll just take a few moments of everyone's time. The first thing is to also acknowledge the passing of Steve Pound this week, late last week, as an past executive director of Alumni Affairs. So I'm filling a seat that he once filled, and certainly the legacy left is absolutely felt for sure. As Christine said, my name is Una Proudfoot. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Executive Director of Alumni Relations at Acadia University. And I'm absolutely honored and privileged to fill this role. And I don't use those words, sort of just, it's an honor and a privilege. I truly mean it. The work that I do on a daily basis fills my cup. And some of that work certainly has been referenced, as I say, already in Christine and Jeff's comments so far. I want to thank everyone who's on the call this evening. I think we're at 30 people, 31 people. If that's a great turnout for an AGM. So outside of the board directors who kind of sort of have to be here, those of you who have joined on your own free will, we really appreciate it. But it's a good segue for me into the work that the alumni board does, and the directors for whom you would have seen their names on the slide earlier. That group of people, so 22 people who are giving their time and talent to represent the alumni community, the broader alumni community. And they're doing a very good job of it. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Back in the day, I feel like I had some experiences with boards where they were just people in seats filling spots on a board. the 22 people who currently fill the seats are not just filling spots. They are incredibly passionate about Acadia University and are doing an incredibly good job of representing the voices in the alumni community. For those of us who work in the university, on a daily basis, we get chugging along and we're doing our work, and sometimes we get kind of focused in our world. Well, let me tell you, the 22 people who represent the Alumni Association Board really do a fantastic job of reminding me why we're doing the work that we're doing. So that's my early thank you to the board. It was going to be my final comments, but there you go. I segued into it. And Christine, you referenced the years that are represented here this evening. I do want to make a special quick shout out. We I think have two at least people on the call who are grads of a later date. So we've got a couple of 2026 grads on the line as well. So I just want to reference both of them. And I hope I'm not going to forget anybody, but we have Emma Bowles, who I just met, ASU executive, who I said, you know what, if you've got some time on Wednesday evening, why not jump on the AGM? So she's here. So thank you, Emma. And Sophie Bertanis, who is here as well. And you'll hear a little bit more about Sophie in a little bit. And the reason I bring them up specifically is because that's exactly what's happening, right? We're continuing on with folks who are representing our new grads or almost grads. And it's just indicative of what Jeff said about us having the most engaged alumni. We couldn't ask for a better group of people. So thank you for that. And I want to tell just a quick anecdote. Christine mentioned the event in Ottawa that she was at. And it's funny because I'd actually written down that I was going to specifically reference that event. And I'll tell you why, because just as the call was starting, I was getting a text from a mom of a student who's starting with us in September. So they were at the event in Ottawa, and it was a recruitment and alumni event together. And because of the experience that Mason, his name is Mason Jude, because of the experience Mason had that evening in the room with prospective students and alumni together, and the number of stories he heard from alumni, he was inspired to visit the campus. He then came to the campus, checked it out. He's a football player, so he's been in touch with the football coaching staff, and he's decided to come, and he's so looking forward to it. And not only that, he's convinced his two best buddies to come. So now we have the three of them traveling from Ottawa and hitting the campus in September. And mom was just texting me to say, tomorrow they get to choose their res rooms. So these are just, one little example of how our alumni community remains engaged and helps us continue to evolve and grow as an institution. And I literally can't wipe this smile off my face right now. So thank you. Today we had the pleasure and also the sadness of saying a farewell to Fred Scambatti. This is the one thing that I'll mention in my verbal report that is also in my written report. Fred is retiring as the communications manager and editor of the Bulletin after 14 years. And it was a wonderful reception. Specifically a shout out to Natalie Irwin, who's on the call, who is the chair of the communications committee and probably the board member who's worked the closest in recent time anyway with Fred. And she arranged for a kudo board. And Fred just wanted you to know it meant the world to him from all of you and your comments that you shared with him in his retirement reception this afternoon. So thank you for that. And the last thing I think I'll take some time to mention very quickly is just you will see some references throughout the annual report where sometimes we say alumni affairs and sometimes we say alumni relations. We were alumni affairs, we are now alumni relations, and we were the Office of Advancement, we are now External Relations Office. So just want to say that out loud so that we can just continue to reiterate the constant evolution of the work that we're doing and under Vice President External Relations, Nancy Handrigan, who's on the call. So I think that's it for me. Christine, thank you very much. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Una. And it's always, I always need to double check whether, external relations, and alumni affairs and so on. So I appreciate the clarity that you provide. At this point, I do want to just ask if anyone has questions for either myself or Una, please raise your hand and you will be unmuted. Okay, so hearing none, I will just ask a second time just to double check. If anyone does have questions, Una or I are more than happy to answer them at this point. Okay, thank you very much. So next up on our agenda is and I'm just going to interject there because I see that Quincy has mentioned, love the comment about Mason. I remember meeting Mason, and I was definitely maybe a little bit too enthusiastic and saying, you really need to come here. So I'm glad. I'm very glad to hear that. Not only is he coming on his own, but he's coming with 2 friends. So that's wonderful. So next on our agenda is the treasurer's report. And so it is, and we talk about Acadia being a small community. So I next welcome Matthew Saunders, who was my RA in my first year in Chase Court, to give the treasurer's report. So to Matthew Saunders, the floor is yours. And Mel, if you could put up those slides for us.
Awesome. And big shout out to Chase Court. Matthew Saunders, your class of 2009. And I remember being that eager new recruit, probably texting Cindy James way too much about coming up. So that was in my time. Good feeling. So thanks, Mel, for sharing this. And also thanks to Melanie and Una, who spent a lot of time making my job as treasurer very easy. To kind of key points here. There we go. So another great year for us financially. Thanks to our strong partnerships with our affinity partners, TD Insurance and Industrial Alliance, our revenue is up. I guess outperformed our budget, projected amount by $67,000. Couple there that contributed to that. As I mentioned, increased business from our affinity partners, TD and Industrial Alliance. And the heightened interest rate environment last year was very favorable to us and our cash asset balance held. So we outperformed our short-term interest there as well. The alumni fund donations was down 14,000 as you would see there, but a lot of that was contributed by the fact that we pointed a lot of donations and held a lot of drives towards the new student center. So a lot of funds we hope were redirected towards that campaign, which is very successful. But overall, still outperformed in revenue, which is great. On the disbursement side, we continue to forecast conservatively there. So that favors us most part. You will notice though that our total disbursements does have a negative variance of about $220,000 for last year. That is due primarily to the matching campaign that was approved towards the end of last year before the budget was struck. So that was again contributing to the new student center, which we had pledged to match donations of $250,000 that was donated by our alumni community. So that was a very successful campaign, and it was our commitment to match that donation. So that's why that 220,000 variance there is in the negative. But outside of that expense, we would still be, I guess, up $30,000 versus the budgeted projected disbursements. One other thing to call out there is that the other sort of big shift negatively divergences would be around discretionary disbursements. The bulk of that came through some of the strategic campaigns that we supported this year. So we have worked that into the budget proactively for 2025, just so we could put a budget line to that to call out those funds specifically. So with that, yeah, thank you, Mel. This is our balance sheet for the year. So our cash balance is down every year, again, primarily due to the matching campaign donation, down to 1.8 approximately million, and uncommitted funds remains around that $940,000 mark. So still in a very, very strong financial position. We had been increasing our cash balance over the last few years. So one of the things that we're engaging with as a finance committee is like looking at what is an appropriate balance for us to hold, and what kind of balance amount should we be floating around to ensure that the money that we are raising through our partnerships and through donations is actually getting reinvested back into the community, and we're not, I guess, too profitable of a nonprofit, if you will, but we're actually finding the right strategic initiatives to invest back in our community. So yeah, I'll take a moment there for any questions, but that is the synopsis for 2025, year ending 2025.
Thank you very much, Matthew. We really appreciate the treasurer's report. And at this point, I do invite any questions. So again, please raise your hand and you will be unmuted. Okay, so just to ask for a second time, just to double check, are there any questions for the treasurer? Okay, so hearing none, at this point in time, I ask that I please receive a motion to approve the 2024-2025 Treasurer's Report for the period ending March 31st, 2025. Can I have a mover, please?
Paul Black, I'll move that.
Paul Black, thank you. And a seconder, please. Okay, Peyton Wood, thank you very much. All those in favor of the motion, and again, silence is deemed to be a vote in favor of the motion. So all those in favor? Okay. Any abstentions? Okay. Any opposed? Okay, so hearing none, there being no votes in opposition and no abstentions, I declare that this motion has been carried. Thank you very much, everyone. So our next order of business is the nominating committee report. And so normally this would actually be coming from past president Matt Rios, who was unfortunately unable to join us this evening. So I will be taking over from him at this point. So to begin our nominations report, I do want to mention that one of the most important responsibilities that we have as a board is to appoint a third of the Board of Governors. Given the current situation with Bill 12, which Dr. Hennessy had mentioned, we're not entirely sure how this will impact our involvement in appointments to the Board of Governors. So it's something we're keeping a really close eye on, but I will reiterate that is one of the most important things that we do as a board. So it's my pleasure to update the membership on the new appointees to the Acadia University Board of Governors. Please note that as per section 18.5 of our Constitution, this is information only and no vote is required. So new appointees are Tim Fermezowicz, who's class of 2000, Tasia Kennedy, who's class of 2004 and 2010. And I will also note who we believe may be the first Mi'kmaq person to be on the Board of Governors. And we also have Kathy Simpson of the class of 1990. And so I will note that these individuals are already making incredible contributions to the Board of Governors. And our next item is the Acadia Alumni Board of Directors. So first, I will mention our executive officers who are halfway through our 2-year terms as officers, which end in 2026, and they are as follows. So it is myself, Christine Lukasavage, class of 2011 as president, Paul Black, class of 2000 as vice president, Matthew Saunders, class of 2009 as treasurer, and Barb Anderson, class of 77 as secretary. Next, the following directors are halfway through their current term. So we have Natalie Irwin, class of 2001, Eric Levy, class of 2005 and 2007, Ron Malcolm, class of 82 and 83, Veronique Russell, class of 2016, Olivia Shive, class of 2021, and Kelton Thomason, class of 2007 and 2010. So renewing directors are those who are finishing their current terms and are renewing their terms this year. They are Allison Dean, class of 2014, Moira McLean, class of 85, Peyton Wood, class of 2018, and Emily Wooder McLeod, class of 2017. So we do have also 2 ex officio members of the board who are appointed. So we do not vote on having them join our board. So we have Rachel McMillan, class of 2025, who served 1 year so far on our board. And we're very excited to welcome Sophie Vertanis, class of 2026 to our board, and she'll be joining us for the next 2 years. And so, Sophie, thank you for joining us tonight. It's wonderful to see you here. Thank you. And so the work of our nominating committee, as per our nominating process, is tonight to nominate 4 individuals to our board of directors. So we have joining us, the proposed new appointees are Robin Buse, class of 1997, Quincy Cochran, class of 2023, Rebecca Earl, class of 2000, and Fiona McGinty, class of 2017. And so I will note that their full biographies are available in our annual report as circulated. I will also note that we currently have 1 additional vacancy on the board, and it was so recent that we weren't able to really even get into to filling that position. So it's something that the nominating committee will be working on over the next couple of weeks. So there will be 1 additional spot. At this point in our agenda, I will ask 3 times for nominations from the floor. So if there is anyone who wishes to nominate someone within the meeting itself, this is the time to do so. So I will first ask, are there any nominations from the floor? Okay. Asking a second time, are there any nominations from the floor? Okay, and asking a third time, are there any nominations from the floor? Okay, so hearing none, I will next ask for a motion to close nominations for the election of directors to the Alumni Board.
Paul Black, I move that we close nominations for the election of directors to the Associated Alumni Board.
Thank you very much, Paul. Can I have a seconder, please?
Matthew Saunders, second.
Okay. Matthew Saunders, thank you for seconding. So all those in favor of the motion, please note that silence, of course, is deemed to be in favor of the motion. So all those in favor? Okay. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so hearing no votes in opposition and no abstentions, I declare that this motion is carried. So nominations have closed. And so our next item of business is to appoint the officers and directors as the proposed slate of board of directors, as we had presented earlier. Can I please have someone to provide that motion?
Peyton Wood here. I move that the officers and directors proposed by the nominating committee be appointed to the Acadia Alumni Association Board of Directors.
Thank you, Peyton. And can I have a seconder, please? Okay, Natalie Irwin. Natalie, thank you. And so next I will ask all those in favor? Okay. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so hearing no votes in opposition and no abstentions, I declare this motion carried. And a very, very big welcome to our new directors. We look forward to working with you. Welcome into, I was going to say welcome into the chaos, but maybe I should wait at least until our first full meeting to say that. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Next up, I believe that we have the acknowledgement of retiring board members. And for this, I will pass it over to Paul Black, Vice President.
Thank you. So I think folks put in a lot of time on a lot of volunteer boards in different parts of their lives, and you know, to your alma mater can be a special sort of attachment instead of contributions. So I just want to take a brief minute to thank the folks who've been putting in time but won't be continuing on the board because their terms are finishing. First is Kirsten Palmer, what I'll call a bi-coastal director, originally from the East Coast, but has been living in British Columbia and studying in a fascinating master's program there. And with the exception of one director who's 1 hour further over, is generally starting meetings in the darkest place with the most artificial light because it's so early in the morning for her. So I just want to thank Kirsten for her contribution for the last couple of years since she finished as Life President. Emily Patterson, another former Life President who Sophie is now taking over the position as. She made contributions from the very beginning. I think it can be intimidating coming into a new group of people, maybe even some with 20 or 30 or 40 years worth of life experience on you. And Emily didn't miss a beat in being a deep and strong contributor to the board, and is now in New Brunswick pursuing her career at JDI. And we will miss her on the board, but we very much enjoyed her participation. Matt Rios. Matt basically never left Acadia. He finished his term on the ASU executive and rolled basically straight onto the alumni board and has been a member and a significant contributor ever since. Every president, all three of the presidents of the university since then have relied on Matt for counsel and for perspective. And I think to say that Matt has advocated for and made significant contributions to changing the way in which the university functions through his work on the board, individually, but then also with us collectively, would be an understatement. And he did that from Canada and then Australia and back in Nova Scotia. And now a new partner at Davis Pier. He's got significant career demands and parenting demands, and we will be calling him very frequently over the next number of years to continue to contribute. Shaq Smith is he mentors startups. Is one of the significant business roles and career roles that he has, and I think he brought a perspective to what you could say is an old institution, because the alumni has been around since the late 1800s as an associated alumni as well, and I think helped us to ensure that we were culturally relevant and that we as a board were grounded in as modern a perspective as we could. And his work is continuing to take off and putting significant demands. And I look forward to seeing where he's contributing professionally through the next number of years as well. Sam Shang, who was our treasurer most recently, and I guess is the OG board member in terms of retirement. We see his grad year back in 2005, not quite as OG as some of us, but Sam, I think, is known for sort of two significant things that, at the opposite end of the spectrum is sort of deadpan humor. But then as the treasurer, and I think, Sky has benefited significantly from Sam's perspective that notwithstanding that part of your job as treasurer is to make sure that you're watching the books so that they balance your insignificant positive territory and have a cushion. Sam always encouraged us to make sure we were spending in line with our values as an association, and I think that's one of the things that Sky and Matt has continued to counsel us as treasurer. And then two directors who were unable to complete the balance of their term for both of their own significant work demands. So Emma Cochran in Nova Scotia, who's significantly involved in the energy sector here, and Taylor Baker also up early for those 4-hour behind meetings, and is an Indigenous leader there with significant demands on her in the Tawasin community. So we thank both of them for their time and contributions as well.
Thank you very much, Paul. And just, I will miss every single one of them. For for a whole host of reasons, but certainly, Sam's humor is right up there. The amount of times that he has made me laugh. And I do want to give a shout out, even though he's not here, to past president Matt Rios, because he really paved the way and helped mentor me into this position, and Donaldo before him as well too. But just just across the whole board of retiring directors, you can see really the significance of their contributions and how tight knit we can become as a board, right? We do a lot of really important work together, and just wanting to again honor the time and commitment that each of those individuals who are retiring, everything that they gave to this board. So Chimigwich, and thank you to each and every one of them. And so at this point in time, so we're coming up at the hour mark, but I do want to give a few moments of time for questions. So I'll give at maximum about 10 minutes time. So under this new business, I ask if anyone has any questions or anything that they would like to bring up. Please let us know by raising your hand and you will be unmuted. I will also ask too, of course, when called, please introduce yourself and give us your grad year. Okay, and so I will ask again, is there any new business? Okay, so hearing none, the next thing that we need to do is kind of move on to closing remarks. So as alumni, we all know that we're part of something really special. Acadia is one of those transformative places, but through that high level of education. And really, for me, the gift that Acadia gave me was that ability to think critically. And I remember Professor David Duke always saying, even if you feel like you've got so much information in the palm of your hand, keep on asking questions. And so that's my takeaway from Acadia University. Always remain inquisitive, always make sure that you keep learning. And so I think that's something that we can all be really proud of as alumni, right? We're part of this community that encourages us to be good citizens of the world. So thank you to each and every one of you for joining us tonight, but then also wanting to mention, your board of directors that you have, most of us here on the call. We are a very diverse group of people by design. We wanted to make sure that there's a good mix of folks from all around the world in different lived experiences. But ultimately, we are all volunteers who believe in the association, who believe in Acadia University. To retiring directors, once again, I will miss you all. Thank you for all that you've contributed to our association, and a big welcome to all new directors. We're so excited for you to join us. I want to also mention the very, very best to Fred Scombatti in his retirement. I was, privileged to work with Fred throughout pretty much my entire time on the board, so he will be missed dearly, but I think there's some good adventures that await him in retirement. A big thank you, of course, to Una Proudfoot, Executive Director of Alumni Affairs, Alumni Relations, for your unwavering commitment to our association and for continuing to guide us in really good ways. So we make sure that we are in best partnership with the university. And of course, a very, very, very big thank you to Melanie Jackson, Senior Alumni Officer, for all of her work every single day and being able to answer any question that we throw at her. As I said earlier today in a text, Melanie, you're a rock star. We really appreciate all the work that you do. And of course, Chimigwich, and a heartfelt thank you to absolutely everyone for joining us for this annual general meeting. As always, we really appreciate any feedback that you might be able to give us on your experience today with this AGM, and we ask that you please reach out to the alumni office directly. Thank you all, Chimigwich, for being here this evening. And the last order of business is to, I'm just going to double check that I've got everything here. Yep. So my last order of business is to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting. And so I ask, is there anyone who would like to move that the 2025 agenda or AGM be adjourned?
Ron Malcolm, I move that the 2025 Acadia Alumni Annual General Meeting be adjourned.
Thank you so much, Ron. Can I have a seconder, please? Okay,
Rebecca
Natalie.
Earl.
Oh, okay. I've got Natalie's hand up, so Rebecca,
Okay.
we'll get you next time. Natalie, thank you for seconding. All those in favor of the motion, again, silence is deemed to be a vote in favor. All those in favor? Okay. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so I declare that motion carried. And so this brings us to the end of our AGM. And I do want to say, Ron, since you're here, if we want to talk about folks who can make you laugh, Ron Malcolm has made me belly laugh so many times. So Ron, wonderful to see you tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you everyone for your time this evening. You're also appreciated. And I'm so happy to be in community with all of you.
Bye.
Hi, guys.